All right, that's good enough. We're continuing with trauma. Today is going to be a long day, so prepare for that, but it will work out at the end of the day. So just bear with me. It's going to be a long day. So we're looking at head and spinal injuries this morning. So that's the first chapter that we'll be reviewing. That's chapter 28. Right now, you have been seeing spinal motion restriction. Well, not spinal motion restriction. You have been seeing the term spinal immobilization, and you have heard me use the term spinal motion restriction. Now, what is happening in EMS currently is research is dictating the change that is now being implemented as it relates to how we approach and manage patients with suspected head or spinal injury. But the issue is that the curriculum, so the curriculum that we use, which is generated by the Department of Transportation in the US, the curriculum has not been updated to reflect spinal motion restriction. The curriculum is still emphasizing spinal immobilization. So my approach is going to be, I'm going to teach you how to do proper spinal immobilization. That is what you will be tested on. But I will bring, I will divulge information on the changes. So I will ensure that you understand what is being done differently as it relates to spinal motion restriction. So let's get into it. Introduction. The nervous system is a complex network of nerve cells that enables all parts of the body to function. It includes the brain, spinal cord, and several billion nerve fibers. So as usual, we're starting with a review of the anatomy and physiology. The nervous system is well protected. The brain is protected by the skull, and the spinal cord is protected by the spinal canal. Despite this protection, serious injuries can damage the nervous system. The nervous system is divided into two anatomic parts. You have the central nervous system and you have the peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system consists of the brain and the spinal cords, and the peripheral nervous system consists of the cranial nerves and spinal nerves. And we have 12 pairs of cranial nerves and 31 pairs of spinal nerves. Now, there is a portion of the peripheral system is divided into the somatic and autonomic nervous system. And the somatic is responsible more for voluntary functions. The autonomic is responsible more for involuntary functions. However, the somatic can have a reflex, a spinal reflex action. And that simply means that the signal does not go to the brain. So it bypasses the brain and we execute the movement that is necessary under emergency situation. So even though the somatic system is voluntary primarily, you can get a spinal reflex where it bypasses the brain. So central nervous system includes the brain and the spinal cord. The brain controls the body and it's the center of consciousness. The brain is divided into three major areas. Cerebrum, cerebrum, cerebellum, brainstem. Cerebrum controls a wide variety of activities, including most voluntary motor functions and conscious thought. Contains about 75% of the brain's total volume, divided into two hemispheres with 4 lobes. You have a frontal lobe, parietal, occipital, temporal. And with your hemisphere, the right hemisphere controls movements on the left side of the body. The left hemisphere controls movement on the right side of the body. The right hemisphere is responsible for how the speech comes out. And the left hemisphere is responsible for how we interpret speech. The cerebellum is responsible for coordinating balance and body movements. The brainstem controls most functions necessary for life, best protected part of the CNS. The spinal cord, made up of fibers that extend from the brain's nerve cells and carry messages between the brain and the body via the gray and white matter of the spinal cord. Oops, too fast. Where am I? Hold on. Here we go. The protective covering. So the entire CNS is contained within a protective framework. The thick bony structures of the skull and the spinal canal withstand the injury very well. And the membrane that protects the brain and the spinal cord is referred to as the meninges. And it has 3 layers. You have the dura mater, arachnoid layer, and the pia mater. The dura is a tough outer portion. The arachnoid is the middle portion where we have a lot of blood vessels. And the pia is the portion that is directly attached to the brain tissue. The meninges, so outer layer, dura mater. This is a tough fibrous layer that forms a sac to contain the CNS. The inner 2 layers, arachnoid matter and the pia mater, contains blood vessel. The difference is the pia is directly attached to the brain tissue. Be very familiar with the layout of the meninges, the layers of the meninges. Just as how it is on this diagram where you have the dura, then you have the arachnoid, then you have the pia mater. Always picture it that way. Always picture it like this. Give me a couple seconds, just a couple seconds.